Yo, this your boy Frank Nitt. And there's rules if you want to get in this Marvel Studios. Don't nobody get in this motherfucker. So rule number 1, don't pop your ass up. Don't bring no extra niggas. And you better be ready to write, direct, produce some hot shit, or you will not get in. Marvel Studios, nigga, you know what it is. Frank Nitt, let's go.
We got it locked from your block to the comic shop.
Drop a 10 more, son. You know I got tools, infinite.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
You now on that wavelength, time to sign in. As Dub Floyd and Claudius chime in on topics of comics, brought to expand the hip-hop connect with a gauntlet in hand. They got it locked in, they floss in the brand. The block to the comic shop, they cross and examine. Representation's famine and moved on the shelf, and the system is happy with the movement is dealt. We don't wait for the sick to improve on the health, so we pull a Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself. And it'll come out extra clean, fresh for the fans like an extended scene. With the hip-hop and comic dimension, they activate you with gems they presentin'. Hand in the gauntlet, yes, we gon' flaunt it. Hip-hop marvels will bring you the rawness.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Marvels Podcast. This is episode 4. I'm your host, DJ Dub Floyd. I got a co-host with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. I call him Thaahum Tavan, the hip-hop historian, the collector. This man knows his history, so I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and we can get right on to it. What up, man?
What up, y'all? My name is Rick. I go by 0378. That was my graffiti name. If y'all don't know what graffiti is, y'all need to Google that. Even though this is episode 4, my first appearance is episode 4. Want to thank Dub and Ken for welcoming me to the team, and let's get it, bro.
I want to hear about what you've been going through this whole time before we linked up, what you've been up to.
Okay. Well, first I'm gonna let y'all know how I met Dub. I met Dub at work. Dub trained me at work. I'm not gonna mention the name of the company. They know who they are. But he and I had an instant connection. We just started talking about hip hop, just out of nowhere. And I was like, this dude know what he's talking about. But I didn't know he was the same Dub that was doing the Boondocks tapes. Installment 3 is my joint, by the way, just putting that out there. And I was just shocked. We were roommates for a while, and we continue to be friends to this very day. As far as my venture into hip hop, I'm a little bit older than a lot of y'all. So I've been there. I can say I've been there from the beginning. Not saying I was there in the Bronx, but as far as what I was listening to, my parents were playing hip hop in the house. They didn't know that, and I didn't know that. My parents are playing Soul Sonic Force. My parents are playing. My dad to this day. I just went home about a month or so ago. It's been a week, and my pop still has Curtis Blow. These Are the Breaks. I'm hearing all that in the house, and I don't know it's hip hop. They don't know it's hip hop. They called it straight rapping back then. To talk fast. I'm rapping to a girl. Hey, come here, homie. Let me rap to you for a second. They were talking about talking. And I knew hip hop was mine pretty much like around 83 with UTFO and Run DMC. And I said, you know, this is my art, this is my culture. And I've been a hip hop fan ever since. So please, this is a warning.
Yeah.
I know what's hip hop. I know what's rap. And I know what's bullshit. So don't come at me like that.
Yeah, disclaimer, you know what I'm saying? The views of Hip Hop Marvels Podcast are solely of myself and my co-host. Big shout out to my homie Claudius, DJ Red Ute, as he calls himself. He's also down with the crew. He's another co-host, and you'll hear from him every other episode.
Shout out Red.
And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. Check us out on all platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Music, Stitcher. Subscribe to this content. We're going to keep giving y'all.
We got it locked from your block to the comic shop.
Okay, out there in Marvel Land, face front, this is Stan Lee speaking. You've probably never heard this before, so anything is liable to happen.
The Art of Cool Festival.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, man, because I know you called me. You was like, yo, show was crazy, man. They had a lot of, older acts, you know what I mean? But you were amazed at how the younger people interacted with them.
Well, Art of Cool is a festival in Durham, North Carolina. Shout out to the Dirty D. But it's a 2-night festival, and a lot of times it's a Friday, Saturday, and a lot of times Friday night is like R&B night. Like this year, it was Ari Lennox from Dreamville. Shout out Dreamville, J. Cole. You know, he the home team. And Jill Scott. That was Friday night. Now, Saturday night was classic hip-hop for me. Run DMC was the headliners that night. Run DMC had not been back to Durham in 30 years.
30 years?
30 years. They had not been back to Durham. I won't say North Carolina, but not back to Durham in 30 years.
Wow.
Rest in peace, Jam Master Jay. This is my first time seeing Run DMC. I've gone to like hundreds of shows, and Run DMC was on my quote-unquote bucket list as far as seeing live. I definitely wish that Jam Master Jay would still been alive to be a part of the show. I'll be honest with you, I can't even remember who the DJ was for them. Wow. Not saying they didn't shout him out or anything like that, but I honestly can't remember because I know they were on tour with Jam Master Jay's son at one time.
I remember that. I do remember.
But I think with this just being a one-off show, I think just hire somebody to come,
right? Just to
and
fill
in for him. So shout out to the DJ. I apologize. I don't remember what your name is, but good show. Everybody in the crowd. Run DMC is one of those groups where everybody in the crowd knows every word to every song.
I mean, that's facts.
It's like that, and that's the way it is.
That's facts all day.
Of course, Walk This Way, Peter Piper. It's Tricky. Pretty much their first 3 to 4 albums, I'd probably say, all the way up to Tougher Than Leather. I don't remember them doing anything down from Down with the King or anything like that. I wish they had. I wish they had, but I just think for nostalgia's sake, they did like the first 4 albums. And the young people interacting with the music is that I could definitely tell, like I did with my nieces and nephews, I played my kind of music around them. I didn't necessarily, we're in the car. I'm not turning the radio on to like something current. Not disrespecting anything on the radio currently, but it's my car. They got learn my music.
And we were having a conversation about that before we recorded about, and we're going to get into this a little later, about the stigma of listing hip hop. DJ Jazzy Jeff had he put up a pretty ill tweet about that. But like you said, it's what you play around the youngins, man. If they're listening to it, they're more prone to do the history and to know more about it. You got a lot of youngins out there now that they jump into hip hop not knowing what it is they're repping. You know what I'm saying? So
they don't really know anything about the culture.
Right.
And that kind of bothers me a little bit when I can see these young rock guys coming up right now in 2019, but they know Elvis Presley. They know Aerosmith. They know The Who. They know Led Zeppelin. These guys right now coming out, I don't think they know anybody beyond 50, Kanye, anybody like that. Certain ones do, and we'll talk about some of them later in the podcast, but just, I don't care what kind of music you make or genre, you have to know the history of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'll affect your music, and it'll affect the way you move. You know what I'm saying? You have to know about that. NC Comic-Con, Bull City, I want to send a shout out to them. It's going down November 8th through the 10th in Durham, North Carolina. Some of the guests there are Kevin Eastman, which you may know from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
He's like the man behind that. Robert Venditti, Tiny Howard, that's home team right there. And, a host of other guests. We're going to be in the building. Hip Hop Marvels will be in the building. So look for us with those shirts with the Infinity mic, getting some dope footage. And, yeah, man, just catch us there. Run up to us, say what's up. Hell, you might end up on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? So big shout out to NC Comic-Con.
This would be my first Comic-Con or convention, as we used to call them, probably in like about 10 to 15 years, bro. This would be my first one.
You're in for a treat, though, because I skipped to one. I want to say I skipped two of them. No, I skipped one. I went to the 2017 NC Comic-Con in Raleigh, and this is before they changed the name, because it used to be called Oak City. This is before they changed the name, and I was there, and I got to chop it up with Darryl McDaniels, DMC, which
Devastating mic control.
Right.
D's for never dirty, MC's for mostly clean.
I had a interview lined up with him, but due to scheduling conflicts, we couldn't get that done. So, hopefully in the future I can actually get him on the podcast.
As far as DMC, I saw an interview one time with him where he said that he sold his comics to get DJ equipment.
Exactly, and that's his part of his origin story. On Hip Hop Marvels podcast, we ask people about their Hip Hop Marvels origin stories. It's crazy because I know his ahead of time. Like I wouldn't even have to ask him really, but I thought that was dope. It's like you sacrificing one thing that you love for another thing that you love. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what Thanos did with when he threw Gamora off of the cliff. You know what I'm saying?
That's similar to my situation. When I was in college, you broke in school. And I had a choice to either stick with hip hop or comics. By that time, comics started becoming expensive. Comics were approaching $1 plus, $2 for certain titles because of the certain kind of paper or anything like that they would use to make them. But I chose hip hop. And I had to eat too, so is it gonna be oodles and noodles, or is it gonna be that new issue of X-Force?
For real. All right, so we're gonna get right into this, because I seen you battling folks on Facebook over this topic, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
These are the people that's up for induction this year.
Okay.
All right, Whitney Houston. That's the first ballot, or first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
We have Kraftwerk. A lot don't know who Kraftwerk is. They're a European group. Bambaataa originally sampled a lot from Kraftwerk, his first beginning records. We also have Rufus featuring Shaka Khan.
Okay.
Now, I want to say this is Shaka Khan and Rufus's third or maybe even fourth nomination. Really, one of the primary things you have to do to get into the Hall of Fame is 25 years after your first initial release.
Okay.
I think there's other small intricacies that they look for. I don't really know the criteria. I really don't think the criteria has even really been explained. Besides it being 25 years after your first release.
Besides from what you said, I knew it had some time had to pass from your first project you put out. Other than that, I have no idea.
We also have 9 Inch Nails, alternative group if y'all aware. Check out the song Closer. The Dave Matthews Band. I'm aware of them. I won't say I'm a fan. I won't say that I'm not a fan. They've had some decent music. Judas Priest, rock group. Todd Rundgren. He did a song that the Isley Brothers did. I can't remember who did it first, but it was Hello, It's Me.
Okay, Hello, It's Me. All right.
Yes, Hello, It's Me. I don't know who did it first. And honestly, I like the Todd Rundgren version better. I'll let you check it out. Brothers and sisters, y'all check that out. And, even hit us up on the gram or whatnot and let us know, how you feel about that. We have Soundgarden, alternative group, back in the early 90s along with Pearl Jam, Nirvana, groups like that.
That's Black Hole Sun, won't you come. That's that one, right? Yeah. Soundgarden, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Pat Benatar. I know what the name of her song escapes me right now. What her big hit was? Love Is a Battlefield.
Love Is a Battlefield. Yeah, I was trying to think of that too. Yeah, Love Is.
That's the only song I can really say that I know by Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
One name that did come across here.
Let's get to the meat. Yeah, let's get right to the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Let's just get
in hip hop. Notorious B.I.G, Biggie Smalls, Christopher Wallace, rest in peace.
Frank White.
Yes. R.I.P. has been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I truly, my opinion, do not think he should be in there before artists like LL Cool J, Ice-T, KRS-One. I don't think he should be in there before Nas or Jay-Z, to be quite honest with you. I had some pushback. Some people weren't feeling that. I called them Biggie stands. They weren't feeling
pushback, man. They went detox on his ass. Yeah.
But I also had a lot of support. A lot of people said they understood.
I mean, when you explained your point to me, I got it, and like I told you, you know, my stance on it, just like I guess homeboy that you were going back and forth with, my stance on it is that it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, you know, they're looking at more mainstream. When they looking at it from a lens of, okay, we don't know too much about hip hop, but we know what the popping, you know, artists are, or, you know, the more popular artists are. And I'm thinking they're looking at it with that scope. They're not going to dive in any deeper. You know what I'm saying? It's more surface level for them.
I honestly believe it's because he's passed away. To be honest with you.
Do elaborate.
I mean, a lot of people don't get the recognition that they've earned and or deserved while they're here with us. Any kind of artist, any kind of genre of music, any kind of form of entertainment. It's even family that's not appreciated while they're here.
Right. I mean, you look at the whole, you know, Nipsey Hussle situation, you know, with Nipsey, it's like a lot of people kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And it's like, you know, give these people their flowers, you know, while they can smell them.
Give them the trees while they can inhale them.
Yeah. Shout to Nori. But yeah, I can see your point on that.
And that's nothing against Big. Big was dope, but
there just needs to be a hip hop Hall of Fame.
A hip hop Hall of Fame.
Now, when you get into that degree, now you can dig a little deeper. Find these acts that, you know, like you said, you know, go with the same criteria.
I think right now with Hip Hop Hall of Fame, we probably have to do a class every other year. Sometimes the people that really do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, you can probably kill that class in like maybe 5 years from the jump. We're talking like African Bambaataa, Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, who really should be in there first. Those three are the foundation of hip hop. So those three have to be in there first. Yeah. After that is when you'll have like your Kool Moe D's, your Treacherous Threes, your Busy Bees, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, the Fat Boys, Funky 4+1. You know, you break them down. I don't know if there's if we should have a certain amount that come in every year. Should it be 3? Should it be 5? That's something that can be worked out. But let me also say this. If Eminem gets in the Hall of Fame before
here we go.
LL, before KRS-One,
now what are we talking? We talking rock and roll or are we talking hip hop Hall of Fame? Like,
it's going to have to be hip hop. We have to control the hip hop Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as you just discussed, Eminem will probably be in there before LL. Right,
because they're looking at, you know, we know the scope that they're looking at hip hop from. So yeah, I agree with that. But hip hop Hall of Fame, there's no way.
There's going to be a minute before M gets in my opinion. I want to know the criteria besides 25 years after your initial release, after your first release. I need to know what else that I have to Google it or whatever. What other requirements are there for you that you fulfill to be in the Hall of Fame? Because right now, I think, if I remember correctly, like Eric B. and Rakim have been ready for like almost 2, 3, 4 years now to be voted. And I don't have a problem with NWA getting in, but once again, they got in before Eric B. and Rakim.
And what we talking about, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We got to get that control back. We don't have the control.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a hip hop Hall of Fame. Because there's history in hip hop. As short-lived as it is, as young as hip hop is,
I don't think people really understand how young 46 really is.
Right, exactly.
Especially for a musical genre.
There's still history in it.
Yes.
There's a lot of history in it, actually.
Still history making.
And still history making. The number one genre on the planet right now, which is a great feat in itself. That's telling you something.
It's come a long way when people thought it was a fad. People thought it was going to go out like disco.
Right. I want to get into this because, and like I said, we're going to get into, the stigma with the list in hip hop. And I want to put this disclaimer out there. These views are totally ours, but we had this discussion before. Top 5 albums so far this year for 2019. So I'll let you start with your list. And, it's in no particular order. It's just what we think is hot hip-hop wise, album wise now, today. So I'm gonna let you do your thing.
My top 5 albums thus far for hip-hop in 2019. Little Brother May the Lord Watch.
Yeah, that's definitely that's on my list as well. If you're naming something on my list, I'm gonna just put it out there. That's definitely on my list. That album. I mean, you want to get into the album a little bit?
We can.
What can you name your top 2 tracks off the album?
My top 2 tracks: Black Magic. And it's hard for me to say top 2. Black Magic is something that when it comes on, I let the CD play all the way, but when it comes to Black Magic, I usually hit the rewind.
Black Magic is dope. I mean, the whole album is dope.
Yes.
But to me,
the big thing about this album was they did it again. Or I've seen some interviews where they felt like they had something to prove as far as can they do it without Ninth Wonder. And I thought they did that back with Get Back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, in my opinion, they have nothing else left to prove. Just keep putting out quality music. Now, I wanted Ninth to be a part of the project. I'm pretty sure you guys see a couple of interviews. You see why that didn't work out. If he had been part of the project, it would have been crazy.
Yeah,
it would have been.
You want to see all the original core. You know, right. You want to see that.
Like when Tribe came back.
Right. Exactly.
It would have been just like that.
Yeah.
Fortunately, all members are still alive and present, as far as like Little Brother. But had Ninth been a part of that project, bro, it'd have been crazy. My next best album, like we said, no order. Benny the Butcher, The Plugs I Met.
I was waiting for you to say that. That album, man, that album is fire.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's definitely on my top. So you just named 2 out of my 5. The Plugs I Met, Made the Lord Watch. Yeah, that album's I love that gritty street shit, man. I love the fact that they're keeping that alive. And we were talking about that earlier about Griselda. Like everybody's embracing that street shit. You want to listen to different shit during different times when you're in different moods.
Mood music.
There you go.
They kind of put me in mind of this is the 50 Cent G-Unit wave that was coming.
Yeah, I was saying that the other day. I was saying that they remind me of like the 50 Cent G-Unit phase mixed with a little Wu-Tang. And they swag like how, West Side and Conway and all them and Benny, they all, out of the group, Capadonna, Ray and Ghost,
right.
They was on that fly shit.
Yeah, they were the fly. They were the
fly niggas out the group. What's your third one?
This and Between Little Brother right now are neck and neck as far as like best. So far, we have a couple more months to go, but I'm talking like Mad Gibbs, Mad Lib and Freddie Gibbs to be exact. Bandana.
That's number 3. That's number 3 on my list. Yeah,
I mean, they have a chemistry or synergy, however you want to call it, that one producer, one MC type thing that's going on right now. They got it, bro.
Yeah, they got it.
And I think that's more of a tribute to Freddie Gibbs switching up for Madlib's production. Not saying that Madlib hasn't had to make an adjustment here or there or something like that, but I credit that more so to Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs be on that gangster, and he's still verbally, lyrically speaking gangster shit, but the bed of music that is on, it's incredible. That's not that far from Chi-Town. Shout out Chi-Town. I think that's really got his gangster on, his gangster Gibbs, who's him hustling in Chicago. But I've been down with Gibbs since like 2010 with his mixtapes. And he's, now mind you, Freddie Gibbs is in the same class as like Kendrick, the whole TDE movement. He's from the same class as Odd Future. A lot of these cats came out all at the same time.
And they all still relevant, you know what I'm saying? And I think they have a good balance of, and it's kind of like what J. Cole explained on that song, Middle Child. Like, they're the middle children, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can cater to the older folks with their style and stuff, and they can cater to the younger folks, too. You have a few of those, you know what I'm saying? You have a few of those, which brings me to this next album, which I think you may have it on your list, but I know it's on mine. YBN Cordae, The Lost Boy.
YBN Cordae, this young brother right now, he's doing it. Wintertime is probably one of my favorite songs this year. He and the collaboration he did with Anderson .Paak.
Rich Nigga Problem.
Yes.
Did
you see them perform that live?
Man, They kill it every time. Yeah, I saw them perform it on. I want to say, was it Jimmy Fallon? It was one of those late night shows. Jimmy Fallon, and then they recently performed it at the BET Hip Hop Awards.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
The part when they going back and forth.
Yes,
effortless, bro. Like and it just watching that. I think that's some of the shit that's missing in hip hop now. Like, I don't want to see you just standing holding a mic for 30 minutes to an hour, bro. You know what I'm saying? Move around on stage. Give me something. You know what I mean? I don't want to just see you just standing there.
I agree 100%. And from what I feel, I think they actually recorded the song together and wrote together instead of like, email me your verse. I hope to hear more from YB and Cordae. I like to see where his career is going to go. He's going to have to elevate a little bit more, but he's a young guy. I understand him, but he puts forth effort as far as writing. He thinks. He's not just babbling or freestyling the first 8 bars.
I watched a few of his interviews, and he even said, he stated he's in it for longevity. He give a fuck about the money and shit like that. Like, he want his art to resonate and be here for a while. So with that mentality, he's going to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Hope he has good people on his team,
right,
and backing him, and is going to tell him what's ill and what's bullshit.
Right.
You can't have no yes men around you. Probably like number 5, I'm a big fan of hip hop compilation albums. I like to see a producer with like a whole bunch of different MCs, not just the one in particular that he works with. I thought Pete Rock set the bar with Soul Survivor. And actually one of his peers, Diamond D, the Dime Piece 2. Diamond D is in my top 10 producers. DITC, shout out DITC. Showbiz, AG, Big L, rest in peace. Lord Finesse, OC. Buck Wild. I'm sorry, I ain't want to forget Buck Wild. But the Dime Piece 2 right now, we're talking Rhapsody. We're talking all of DITC. We're talking, it's just, I haven't heard a compilation album like this by a singular producer in a very long time.
I'm going to tell you the joint that fucked me up off that album. It's at I want to say it's either the second to last track or the last track. I can't think of the title off tops, but it has Afro and Twista. And the way he flipped that beat and them niggas went in.
That song, I can't remember the name of it either. It surprised me. I didn't know how an Afro Diamond D Twista collaboration would be. Now we're talking like 3, if you know the individual people.
Right, 3 totally different people.
Afro and Twista don't even have like the same kind of flow. Don't talk about the same kind of thing. Diamond D's production is still what we call dusty. He's flipping samples of some of our parents' shit we ain't never heard before or haven't heard since we were children. But those 3, that collaboration came together very well. I wasn't sure how it was going to come out. I'm looking at the track list. I'm like,
That's a dope album. I don't have that on my top 5 albums for this year.
I think we only agreed like on the first 3.
Yeah, no, the first 4.
Really?
Yeah, you had Made a Little Watch, The Plugs I Met, Bandana, Lost Boy.
Okay.
Yeah, the only one is my 5th one is Eve, Rhapsody.
Shout out Rhapsody.
Just the whole concept behind the album. And she's dedicating the album to powerful women.
Every track named after a powerful black woman.
I can listen to that from start to finish. The Phil Collins sample joint.
Woo!
I think Ninth did the production on that.
Yes. It's the most complete solo female MC album I've probably heard since Jean Grey. She I've being here in NC, I've watched Rhapsody grow per se.
She was on Hip Hop Doctrine 3. And it's dope to see because as a DJ you can hear artists grow, you can hear their growth.
She can ball too, y'all. She can ball. She's a shorty, but she can ball.
Shout out to Rap. Yeah, those are my top 5. Like I said, we agreed on 4. The 5th one, and it's not to say that I don't like Dime Piece 2. It's just,
it's not to say that I don't like Eve.
Eve, right, yeah.
Eve is actually, as of right now, is in my top 10, but we'll get to the top 10 later or at the end of the year when we give everybody a chance to come out. Then we're going to evaluate again. But Rhapsody is in rotation.
The top 5 hip-hop albums of 2019 to us. And if you have your own list, tag us.
But think before you make your list. Don't sit there and just rattle off a bunch of names. Sit there and just say, like, you really listen to the music. Hearing it and listening to it are two different things. That way you'll have a quality list. I want you to have a quality list.
And while we're on the topic of lists, we could talk about the stigma with lists in hip-hop. You know, there's a lot of lists going around, some from known sources, some from unknown sources.
Let me ask you this, bro. We're talking about like a singular MC, not necessarily like a top. We'll get into like the number one spot. I want to ask you this question. Can a MC from a group be number one? Like, can Andre 3000 be number one? Could the Jizza from Wu-Tang Clan be number one? You understand what I'm saying? In a group, can you be number one? Out of all MCs, can you be number one within a group, but you come from a group?
My opinion on that is if you have enough bodies of solo work.
We talking like albums, features, guest appearances?
I would say at least one album. Even if you had one solid album and a gang of features, we can judge off of that. But if we're only going by the stuff you did with your counterpart, how can you know what I mean?
Right.
How can you judge that?
Right. Because sometimes when I see people make their list, this is what I want people to think. You have like a top 5 MCs, but number 3 is Mobb Deep. Right. Either put Prodigy or Havoc. Right. I see them, they might have Wu-Tang Clan at number 8. You got 9 brothers to choose from. It can't be, and everybody in the Wu-Tang is not a top 5 MC. Sorry. Not sorry. Everybody in Wu-Tang is not a top 5 MC.
I'm going to just read you this tweet that DJ Jazzy Jeff had put out a few days ago. And he said, top 10 of all time lists are top 10 of your time. It's harder for someone older to do this because we got 40 years of people to pick from. Someone born in the 90s has no idea the impact of Melly Mel. Never-ending debate. And he's right. That's what I think. You got to realize some of these lists are coming out from younger folks, too. And they really don't, they're just going off of their time. And I have no problem with that. Everybody's entitled to their own thoughts and opinions. I have no problem with that. It's when you try to generalize the idea and make that law, and it's not.
Yeah, none of these lists are law. Not even that piece of shit list that Billboard put out
right
a couple years ago or so. That was some
right. You know, and I just don't sit well with the fact of it. It's like, okay, here's this list, and that's what it is according to, you know, that's the pulse of hip hop right now. That's what's going on. It's this list. I guess they're going based off of their experiences and their time. And it's cool. That's cool. You know, my list is going to be different than 16-year-old's list. My list is going to be different than a 50 or 60-year-old's list.
I think a lot of times with them is with the young folks anyway is that it's their favorite rappers, not necessarily the best.
Right.
Because I have favorite rappers, and I know really who is the best. Some of my favorite rappers
are not the best.
But they're my favorite rapper. They've never let me down on a verse,
right?
An album or anything like that. Those are my favorite rappers. The greatest are, you have to look at it from a historical perspective. And like we just said, hip hop is young,
right?
46 years old. A 16-year-old,
right? Exactly. And elaborate more on your point, like we were just talking about with the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. There needs to be some criteria here.
Yes. Very much so.
We need to know what qualifies this MC as a top player on this list. You know what I'm saying? We have to do some digging, do some research. They're not just inducting anybody into the Hall of Fame. Some of my favorite rappers are not, like, they don't have all the credentials, but I love listening to them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I know what doesn't need to be a part of it. I don't want to hear anything about record sales. I don't. Just because your record went quadruple platinum doesn't mean your record was good. It just mean a lot of people bought it. A lot of times, it's people.
Well, see-
it's a lot of times people buy records, and guess what?
See, for
They end
me,
up at the pawn shop like 2 days later.
See, for me, I don't mind that. I don't mind the record sales being in the play, but that's not make that the whole shebang. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I really don't think it even should be a part of it.
I'm saying because it, along with the other criteria, it would average and balance it out, just like the back of those old school Marvel cards. You know what I'm saying? How you had the power and
Right.
the stability and the stamina and durability and fighting and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything balanced out, and each hero or each villain had different levels of each. So like if you flipped over like an Eminem card, of course his record sales, the power grid would be high as shit. But there's some other shit that he's lacking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no perfect MC. So there's some other shit that, you know, that's lacking. If you raise your eyebrows, there's a perfect MC?
I think
Perfect? I'm talking about power grid out every last, you know what I'm saying? If we judging charisma, we're judging swag, we judge I hate that word, but we're judging what are some other things? Flow.
yeah. Well, with me, I usually try to judge as far as like impact,
Right, impact.
longevity,
Right. If we're judging all of those things,
innovation,
so who
skills.
has all of that along with the record sales to match?
Jay-Z. I mean,
yeah.
he's got it. He's got the record sales. He made an impact. I think to a certain extent he's innovative.
Yeah. I can see that.
You know, Jay-Z is a tastemaker.
Yeah.
You know, whatever Jay-Z was doing, I can't necessarily say with the young people now, but Jay raised like a lot of people's style status up as far as what he was driving, what you're wearing, what you're drinking.
You got a point there, man. Like I can't argue with that. I really can't.
I can really put Nas up there. Nas has record sales. Nas was impactful. Nas has a flow. Nas is innovative. He's consistent. That's another thing. Longevity.
Yeah.
Those 5 things I think is what to me determines a great MC.
So I think there's a few more missing, but I just can't.
Okay.
I ain't got the time. But I'm saying I ain't got the time to
Right.
But I think there's a few more just a few more missing.
Mhm.
But
as far as qualities, to make a great
as
MC?
far as
Okay.
qualities, you know what I'm saying. And like I said, that's why that's why I don't mind not omitting the record sale aspect, because everything, you gotta have, certain ones you're gonna be a little less in than the other. You know what I mean? Certain
Right. But usually they don't go below a 9 on the scale.
Right.
I think KRS-One, to me, KRS-One is a top MC. He lacks everything. I mean, he has everything but record sales. Not saying that he didn't sell records.
Right.
But is KRS-One diamond? I seriously doubt it. To me, that's like counting another man's pockets. For real. I don't care what you got in your pocket.
Right.
Are you dope?
Right.
If all you're gonna do is get on there and talk about your money, kind of like how Meek Mill did versus Drake. They was battling. What was Meek talking about? Talking about his rollie and his woman and this and the third, and Drake was ripping his ass. You know what I'm saying? That's why record sales don't mean anything to me as far as hip hop. Are you hip hop?
Right.
That's definitely, hip hop wasn't about money. Hip hop was about doing what you could do without these certain things, like without these instruments, without this clear musical training. It didn't have anything to do with it. It didn't have anything to do with money.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we took something and made it. We started with nothing,
right,
and made it into something. That's what I was trying to say. I sound like George Bush when he was like, "Fooled me once, shame on." Man, just don't fool me again. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I get what you mean by that. I mean, the whole list thing, like I said, I mean, I'm not saying don't stop with your list. If you want to make a list, fine. But
it's subjective. It's objective.
Yeah, right. That's a debate that will never be. That's it. Like Jazzy Jeff said, it's a never-ending debate. So the best thing you could do is just lead with your little disclaimer. Like, look, these are my top 50 MCs. Right. My top 50 MCs. Right. These are mine.
Right. I don't think anybody has really a problem with some lists. I think some people, it's two things I think some people look at when they look at other people's lists. They look at if a certain person is there. Like, let's just be honest. T.I.'s list didn't include KRS-One.
Right.
Didn't even include him. We're not talking about he put KRS-One in like number 22 or something like that, but he didn't include him
I
at all.
I also wasn't angry though. Like I wasn't mad about it. I just was like, oh, he missing, because to me he would be. I told you, KRS is like up there number one for me.
Yeah,
but he not on his list. So I mean that don't make him any less of a any less hip hop. Yeah.
Where people fall that on the list is another.
Yes,
like, I think with DJ Vlad, he put out like a top 50 groups of all time. You know what his number one group was?
I didn't see his list, so you gotta enlighten me.
Vlad's number one group all time was Migos. The Migos?
So what? The
Migos.
What? So what was he judging it on though? Like, was he judging it on now?
He never said his criteria because
see that's why
like
it's
people
important.
Like Brand Nubian are on the list. De La Soul is on the list. Tribe is on the list.
But see, that's why it's important to state your, you know what I'm saying, the release that criteria first. That's why it's important for that, because
he had like a lot of groups.
I'm looking at because if I'm
like,
the
how do you have 3 6 Mafia before Run DMC?
See what, but see what I mean? Like, that's why it's important to put that out there, because if I'm just an average person or a hip hop head looking at this shit and I see these things, I'm gonna question it, especially when there's nothing. Here's a list. You know what I'm saying?
I could be wrong though. Wait. Let me take that back. It might have been NWA. It might have been NWA. I just thought it was strange. More so, we had the Migos. I think he had the Migos above like Brand Nubian, Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Ghetto Boys. I mean, no disrespect to the Migos, but they're not better. We're talking all time. We're not talking about record sales. We're talking like all time.
But that's why it's important to put these disclaimers out, because and see, it's also subjective, because a youngin might think they're the greatest. You know what I'm saying?
That's what makes him a youngin.
Here we go. That's going to wrap up this edition of Hip Hop Marvels podcast. This is episode 4. I'm glad you're on board, man. We're going to keep this going. Keep bringing these people some dope content.
Absolutely.
We got it locked from your block to the comic shop.
Drop a 10 more, son. You know I got tools infinite.